Welcome back, wordsmiths and story seekers. I am your host, Daniel Willcocks, broadcasting from the shadowy halls of Devil's Rock HQ, and we're bringing you a Twisted Tales Diaries episode. So, joining me this week is my wonderful co-author, RP Howley. Rob,
Hello,
how's it going?
everyone. Yeah, good man. How are you?
I'm doing very good. So, it's been a couple of months since we recorded a Twisted Tales Diaries. I think in the first episode we said we bring these out not regularly, but we're going to bring these out just to kind of give people a bit of a behind the scenes look at what we're doing with the Twisted Tales series, try and hopefully share some bits of wisdom, things that we're learning along the way. The last time we spoke was not long after Jack had come out and Twisted
Yeah,
Tales had launched.
I think it was June, July sort of time.
It was
It's been a
around
while.
then.
Yeah,
Yeah, and July already feels like several years ago. It's kind of crazy that we've just had book three come out 9 days ago.
yep. So that was a
Um,
very nice little happy birthday present for me. Just saying,
it
throwing that
was,
out
it was, it was the day before your birthday,
there.
and so yeah, got the little paperback come through to
Yep,
your house.
yep. Thank you very much.
Yeah, but yeah, so Twisted is now. Excuse me, and I've got a bit of a sore throat, so that's now coming through. We've been chatting for about an hour before this, and I've been fine. But now that we're recording, my throat's decided to be sore. Um, how Well, it's been 5 months now since Twisted Tales has come out. I know this is a pretty broad question, but how are you finding the process so far? What's it been like to bring the concept of Twisted Tales to life?
It's been, I'd say, twofold. It's been an absolute joy to see the reviews coming in, go through the process of it. I'd say now we've got our process down quite a little bit more. Like we know what we're doing, we know when we're doing it, we know how long it's going to take us to do certain things. So I know with book four, we've given ourselves a little bit more time with that because Slay was
To the wire.
very, very stressful. But also, I'd say that stress and that pressure has given us something we can both be proud of.
Hmm.
I think there's certain aspects of it that people who haven't co-authored before might not know about. So the downtime between, for example, you're working on book four at the moment.
And
I
have
do
been for a
have
while.
been for a while because of life, and also we want to make this good. That downtime for me has given me time to think about everything else, what we can do with that side of the business, the sort of the future promotion, events we might want to plan next year. So it's given me a lot of space to think, but it also makes me feel like I'm not doing enough because
Mm.
that is the way of author life.
Yeah, so I definitely want to underpin that because that's something that I kind of want to raise as well. But like, just for context, for anyone who is coming fresh to this episode, don't know what Twisted Tales is. Um, Twisted Tales is essentially mine and Rob's version of Goosebumps for grown-ups. That's the kind of tagline that we gave each other. That's how we're pitching it. The tagline that you found, which was amazing, which we love, is the 90s called and they want their nightmares back, which
Yeah.
I'll say it's genius. I love it so much. Um, but that's what we're doing. So we loved the idea of serializing horror. We like the idea of bringing standalone stories in a way that we can package so that readers know what to expect, and there's kind of a consistency, even though each of the stories is different. And I really now that we're 3 books in, I really feel like we're delivering now. Like we've got
Mhm.
a good base of readers who are reading the books early. We've got people on social media, online that are sharing the books and excited about the next ones that are coming out. It's not huge yet. It hasn't exploded yet by any measure, but I know that in the last episode and in one of our big meeting about what this looks like, what we're going to do with it, that was kind of our plan is consistent, our plan is sustainable, our plan is joy. And that's kind of the surface level. So I mean, to peel back a little bit to you not feeling like you're not doing enough, I have found very similarly. Like I'm working on book four at the minute. Book four is called Deal. We've
Yeah.
not I don't think we put that anywhere. So if you listen to this podcast, that's an exclusive.
There you go.
That's what you get for joining us here. But I'm working on the second draft of Deal, and I'm getting close to the finish. It's been with me for a little while, as Rob says, life. And it's such a weird process because when so I came up with the idea a few years ago. We started talking about it, I think, at the end of 2023, beginning of 2024.
Yeah, think it was a year before, 9 to 12 months before Jack came out. And then I remember we had our little pitch meeting in, I want to say Milton Keynes, was it?
The
When we
pitch
came.
one was in what for the story for that one?
Yeah, yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
that was Milton Keynes.
Yeah, yeah. So that was,
Aha.
oh, time is a lie. I don't even know what year or month it is
I
now.
want to say that was probably April or May. February was Oxford.
February was Oxford. April, May was, yeah, Milton Keynes. So we've had Deal.
No, Milton Keynes was before Oxford. No, it wasn't. As you were.
This isn't important. This isn't important to me. For people at home, this is not important. So it's very, the process we've got so far to give a little insight into the Twisted Tales is generally Dan and myself will meet up once a quarter, once every sort of 4 months or so. We will have a catch up. We will plan what the next 6, 8, 9, 12 months looks like, and we will generally pitch our ideas for what the next books in the series are going to be. I vividly remember both of us sitting in, I'm going to say it was a Costa in a shopping centre in Milton Keynes.
It was a Pret.
Was it? Well,
Yeah,
vividly, clearly,
they
I'm
had
not.
really good cookies.
Um, bacon sandwiches, but there we
There you
go.
go.
There was a couple next to us who looked at us very strangely as we are pitching these ideas to each other, as if
Uh-huh.
we'd never met, and talking about the content of Deal. And that's where it was born. And that is how every single book starts. So, yeah,
Yes.
it's a
Yeah.
process.
Yeah. And it's been a long process. And yeah, so the first Jack came out in July.
Hmm.
Um, to set context for people, as I say, like the idea for Twisted has kind of been percolating for a while. I approached you and pulled you on board because I thought it'd be fun to work with you, and it has been. Um, and the first few months of really getting our teeth into Twisted, so probably more this side of this year, well, not this, but like the first half of this year, it felt so all encompassing in a good way.
Hmm.
In so we were having these meetings, we were talking about, I for people who haven't written a series like this, haven't worked with a co-author, I've got a book called Collaboration for Authors, and I'm not plugging that just because I've written it, but I have. But when I wrote that book, I remember I wanted to write a book to help people work with other authors. And so I had these kind of different sections of the stage and how it would work. And what I found funny on my side is the entire basically first half of the book became before you actually start working with the other author.
Yep.
So setting expectations, making sure you're realistic with, what you want to achieve, what it's going to look like, putting in contingencies for if things go wrong. And so it's very, very similar with starting this series in that, like, I pulled Rob on board. I was gonna say, I'm not going to say what I was going to say. I brought Rob on board.
For context for everyone, for the pulling and the bringing, I also haven't read Collaboration for Authors, so I don't
No, no, that's
really
fine.
know what Dan's talking about right now.
That's fine. That's fine. But like, I brought Rob on board, and like I was working on Jack anyway. I had kind of like the first draft, which I presented over to you. You had a look at it, and we kind of started the back and forth there. But while that first story was being created, we were having so many conversations about what is Twisted, what do we want to achieve with this. Again, that weekend that we had in Oxford in our romantic little cottage, we had just hours at this table planning what it would look like and really kind of setting out clear who is our audience,
Hmm.
how are we going to reach them, who don't we want this book to reach, like how do we plan a schedule that we can both work with given both of our different how we operate our lives differently. And I think those conversations are so fundamental and so important. I think that's really a thing that gets missed out because I've been excited about this idea for ages, and I've been excited about you being on board for ages, but we've really, I think, even before Jack came out in July, by that point we'd had, I think it was about 3 or 4 months before Jack came out that we had this
Yeah.
meeting. And again, we were so clear, we took that time. And I think when people collaborate, when people partner with other creatives, the excitement can sometimes take over the rationale.
Hmm.
And as I say, I've been stewing on this long enough that some of that excitement had worn off and I was just in rationale. But like, I think that was a really key step that we've taken, and what's been
Yeah.
nice about this entire process is that we can always come back to what we agreed.
Yeah.
And we can always say, well, but this is what we said we were going to do, and this is the type of book that we're going to write. And, like, just as a perfect example, Deal, the way that we're writing it, I would argue is much, much darker than
Mhm.
Jack, than Air, than Slay.
Yeah.
In theme, in content, just to make people excited for it. It still feels like a Twisted Tales story for me,
Mhm.
but it's definitely darker and potentially a bit more gruesome. And when I said to yourself, I'm worried this is too dark, you went back and were like, but we've got plans with Twisted to have different levels of horror.
Yeah.
So that, if we're like fortunate enough to get to 20 books down the line,
Yeah.
we could say to people, these 10 books are very entry level horror.
Hmm.
These 10 are much darker horror. Like we wanted
Yeah.
to bake in a creative flexibility to be able to flex those muscles and do things.
Because for me, that is the point of horror. Just because it is branded as, or we're selling it as Goosebumps for grown-ups. Goosebumps got dark. Like they've remade the TV series recently, and
Oh God, yeah.
arguably those series are a lot darker than what the original stories were. So just because we've got Jack, Heir, and Slay, which came out 9 days ago, are we saying?
Yes.
I'd say Slay is the most festive, fun, and mildly campist book that we've got so far. We'll get onto the conversation of how that happened in a minute, I would imagine. But I think that is the joy of doing the collaboration is you can, within reason, temper each other's enthusiasm. Because I know conversations we've had in the past is very Dan gets an idea, Rob goes very pragmatic with it, and then it's a very nice little meet in the middle of how do we make this work for what gives us happiness, what makes the readers enjoy a book, and also what is in fitting with the brand that we're now building and that
Mhm.
we have built.
Yeah, yeah, and it's coming along, I would say, very, very nicely.
Yeah.
Um, and I think in terms of how it's performing, and to be fair, I kind of want to get quite specific on numbers here because I think it will benefit people to be transparent with
Yeah.
where we're at. If you're comfortable with that, like,
Yeah. Go
good
for
to
it. Yeah.
share, yeah, because I kind of feel like we're living in an era at the minute where a lot of authors are talking about success and all this other stuff and aren't really sort of like clear with what that looks like for people, and it's unfair on people that might be potentially starting new projects. So
Yep.
the way that I kind of see Twisted is I've been writing for 10 years and publishing for 10 years,
Hmm.
which is weird just to say casually now at this point. It feels bizarre. Um, but for me, Twisted is a brand new project,
Hmm.
and it's different horror to what I've written before. Like I tend to, we've spoken about this, I tend to get more purple, more in the weeds, more deep with my horror. And I don't feel like Twisted is necessarily a perfect fit for people that like that literary, that elevated horror. Like we've had a few reviews that are
Yeah.
like, oh, this is very just fun foundational horror. And it's like, well,
Hmm.
yeah, that's what we're going for.
Yep.
So it's a brand new project for me. And a lot of the people we're reaching, I don't think know who I am, who you are.
Nope.
And so we're really building this from scratch. And so the Jack launched, I want to say mid July 17th, maybe.
Yeah, because that was the month we had a conversation. Why didn't we do anything? It's like, oh yeah, book
Yeah.
launch.
Let's see if I can actually get our download numbers and stuff up here. But um, in terms of like income and stuff, we haven't yet broken even on the series because we've invested a fair bit of money into like covers, into audiobooks, into all other stuff. But we are currently sitting at £324 total on the books. That's growing every day. It's a slow tail. We said at the beginning we wanted this to be kind of a slow, consistent build.
Yep.
And in terms of actual sort of units and stuff, I think we're on about 300, over 300 sales.
Yep.
Uh, we've recently made a move to KU, which we can kind of talk about, which gives us 2,147 page reads. Oh no, 457 units.
Mhm.
Um, and like these numbers are quite small at the minute. Like we're not gonna lie, I don't think that's helpful too.
Nope.
But as I say, it's I think one of the things that people don't realize, especially as an indie author, a self-published author, there's a few different routes of success you can have. You can have a breakout, lightning strike.
Hmm.
You can already have a pre-existing audience from something else that you then make money from. But if you're starting from scratch, which is, I mean, we're not fully starting from scratch because we've still got some of my old lists and things, but um, what, how am I trying to say it? For a series like this, I'm going off the assumption that readers need to earn, or we need to earn the trust of our readers.
Yep. Agree.
And so when Jack came out, there was excitement. It was around Halloween. We got a bunch of pre-orders. It was nice.
Hmm.
Really amazing reviews. We're getting some
Yep.
really, really quality, excited readers, which
Hmm.
I love. Our newsletter, all the like open rates and everything are really, really high because we're really targeting the people we're trying to reach.
Yep.
Um, and then when Air came out, that bumped up again. Now that we're into Slay and we're into December, that income's starting to bump up again.
Hmm.
And the idea is the more of these books we have out, the more we have people who can jump from story to story, the more they've invested in us, the more trust we have, and then that kind of magnifies. So it is one of those processes which is really hard. I think we were talking about this earlier actually. Like
Yep.
you really have to trust the process here and you really have to like stay consistent with it. Because I've fallen off this wagon before. But in between launches, when there is a month where the numbers go down, it's so deflating.
I push back a little bit on that because I
Go
wouldn't
for
say
it.
it's deflating or disheartening or anything like that. It is the process of being an indie author, having a life outside of writing,
Mhm.
because full transparency, I've got a day job. My living situation at the moment is difficult to say the least. Um, so I am carving out time to bring the joy back to writing around everything that I need to live. So it's writing is not paying the bills, but it's what makes me happy. So I would say it's not disheartening. It's part of the process. And it also goes back to what we said in Oxford. It is the joy and it's also sustainability. It's not the quick lightning strike. We've got a absolutely amazing group of ARC readers. We've got people that are regularly reviewing it
Mhm.
or sending us Instagram messages going, you guys need to submit this to this promotion or
Yeah.
whatever it is.
Random people just sharing our stuff online. It's
Yeah,
beautiful. Yeah.
it's it's random stuff, but also with the income side of things, we again, full transparency for this, we ran a Halloween promotion with over 20 authors who discounted their books. So we sold units and we reached new readers and we collaborate with
Mhm.
all these authors. The flip side of that is we reduced the price of the book.
Yeah. So
And because of
minimize
the
our profit
way,
margins. Yeah.
yeah, which with the model of the retailers meant on some occasions we didn't make any money.
Hmm.
However, it's not all about that. It is giving readers a book they want to read in a
Hmm.
series they want to be invested in.
Yeah. As you say, like the strategy we've got at the minute, like it's not prioritizing the income.
Hmm.
So yeah, during Jack's first week, we ran a load of promos just to get people into fun. Because again, like, you have to draw eyeballs to it. And social media is not enough these days. Like, you really have to, if you want to bring in big numbers quickly, you need capital, money that neither of us have at the minute. And to be fair, like, I don't, like, I'm kind of happy ticking
Yeah,
along in this way for now. Um, but yeah, like, every conversation we've had, it's been, well, we'll make the book lower price for the first week just to bring attention to that, just to like get people's buy in that, build that trust so that they can come back and get more
yeah,
books. And yeah, I haven't seen anything really negative from
no,
anyone. There's been a couple of 3-star reviews which are fair of,
yeah,
oh, this isn't as elevated as we want it to be or literary as we want it to be. And it's
yeah,
like, well, that's fine. Like you're not
yeah,
our readers. Um and yeah, like I think it's just, this kind of honesty. I like the idea that we can come back, sit down in a year's time and be like, well, we've now done 1,000, 2,000 units. We've
yeah,
now done X, whatever. We've now packaged this up in this way, in this way, in
yeah,
this way. Like, it really is having that kind of conviction and that longer foresight that this is a process. And every time we sit down and have a meeting, I'm going through our newsletter numbers. where we're going with sales, what that's kind of looking like, any reviews that have
Yeah.
come in, and not that we review watch, that's not. But you know, I keep bringing it back to this is what we said we were doing,
Yeah.
and it's happening. And again, like, even just as I say, we've got the Discord group, the Devil's Rock Discord group.
Yep.
People are in there. We've got like an arc reader team in there that are chatty and sharing how much they love the book.
Yep.
I don't know if you saw this post, but I put a thing in there this week just asking what people's top reads of 2025 were, and pretty
Hmm.
much everyone was like Slay, and I'm like, this is amazing. Um, so like, yeah, we're writing books that we're happy with. We're writing books that we're proud
Yep.
of. Like, I love watching the physical copies on the shelf build.
Yeah.
It's
That is giving me a lot of joy. That I've
yeah,
got to say, that is giving me a lot of joy.
yeah, and just there is momentum there. And what I'd like to do is next year, as you say, you've got a bit of a personal situation. I'm still like in transition with a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Like getting to a point where all that calms down, and when we can get to the point where we can invest more money into this, I kind of really foresee this beginning to
Yeah.
scale and grow. And by that point, we've got 4 books out, 5 books out, 6 books, whatever it
Yeah.
is. Um, but yeah, it's a real. It's funny because I'm going to bring up. I'm going to get his second name wrong because I haven't looked at it. It's Anthony Stanton, is
Yeah.
it?
Anton.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know if Anthony listens to these, but he is very active in speaking to us on
Yeah.
Instagram, social media, and stuff. He recently launched his first book,
Yeah.
and I love his attitude towards this because I think when people self-publish a book, there is that expectation that, oh, this is just going to blow up immediately, and that's not what this industry is like, or at least the stats are against you in that way. You can be a lightning strike, things can happen, you might hit an opportunity, but like generally it takes time. And he put out his first book, was a vampire historical type novel, which looks amazing. Like the cover looks everything, and like they've really done well in presenting themselves online. And they're like, right, now on to the next book.
Yeah. And that's what you have to do. That's because I think I'm going to say it was Blood of the Damned, I want to say.
Yes.
Yeah, and he's regularly emailing. He's on our ARC team, like.
Mm-hmm.
But I think what is nice is I mentioned someone sending messages earlier, going, "This might be something of interest of you."
Mm-hmm.
Prior to all of the Twisted, Anthony and ourselves, we didn't have any contact, and it's because we trust what he's saying, and he trusts us as authors
Mm-hmm.
to deliver a product. And likewise, Blood of the Damned, it's a first book. It's a start of a journey for someone,
Mm-hmm.
much like Twisted Tales was the start of a journey for us. You've got your publishing journey, I've got my publishing journey. They were two very separate paths,
Yeah.
and this is just another step towards writing, essentially.
Yeah. So that's a bit of the strategy behind where we're at. Some of the look at the numbers. As to say, it's all a work in progress. We're very much going to be looking ahead to 2026. We need to do some planning for that in the next couple of weeks, whatever that looks like. Um, but I've got a bit of a fun question for you, I think,
Mm.
which is it's not a scary one. So we have Jack, which is a
Oh.
little folk rural town horror.
Yep,
We have Heir, which is very kind of gothic werewolfy tale.
yep.
We've got Slay, which is a festive elven nightmare.
Hmm.
What's your favorite? I've not asked you this. What's your
Oh,
favorite?
God.
And
Ooh.
also, we need to have these conversations more often because
Yeah, we
as
do.
we're talking
Like,
about them, I'm like, we've done some freaking awesome stuff this year.
yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah.
this.
So I would say, so two answers to this. From an enjoyment of writing point of view, so from the process that we have, I will generally always write the first draft of a book. I would say Slay has been my favourite because it's the one where I've been given free reign. Not free reign. That's the
Oh
wrong
no,
way of
you had
saying it.
full
Like
creative license just to
I had
go.
full creative
Like we didn't
license.
even have a story meeting really on that one. You were
No,
just kind of like, here's an idea, and I was like,
I,
do
I,
it.
I've done a thing.
Yeah.
The thing is done. I would say from a festive horror, very inclusive book, that has been my favorite one so far.
Hmm.
From a writing point of view, because I had a lot of fun with the first draft on that one. I would say from an experience point of view, I would say Jack, purely being that it was the first book that I was brought into as part of this collaboration process. So it was a whole learning journey for me of working with someone else rather than just sitting behind a computer, headphones in, playlist going.
Hmm.
So Jack from a process, Slay from a writing, and then Heir and Deal, I would say, are joint because they are gory and different in their own ways.
Yeah.
Same question back.
I think I'm just you inverted. I think like Jack is gonna hold a special place in my heart because, as I say, the idea of Twisted came into my head in 2021. It just festered for a while. Life stuff happened. A lot of life stuff happened. Um, and then when I approached you, I already had a couple of scrapped first chapters for that. I think maybe a third or half of the first draft of what went on to become Jack, I think
Yep.
was written. Um, and it was kind of setting the foundation for what Jack would be, and I I just love that story. I love Charlie. I think she's like an exciting character. I love the town that we kind of built. I like how it all came together. I think bringing you on board kind of almost just really cemented that accountability to finish the fucking story, just get it done.
I do remember you saying that I've been sitting on this for a while now. I was like, well,
Yeah, yeah.
just need to get this done.
So I think I
Like
was quite tentative approaching you to start with.
you
I kind of
were,
like
like,
was a bit
yeah,
like, maybe thinking,
like
but
there's no pressure to do this. You don't have to come in on this. I'm like, no, this is
yeah.
happening.
I
Like
don't think
we're
if
good.
if I remember rightly, that wasn't a reflection on you as
Yeah.
such, more that I, as always, had like a thousand things going on, and I didn't want to make a
Uh-huh.
commitment to you if I was then not going to follow through. So I
Yep.
wanted to be sure that I was going to follow through before I then cemented
Yep.
that with you. But yeah, no, I love that story, and again, like I still have a few of the first thrown out chapters. Um, Once you went through and combed through your edits, it became a Twisted Tale.
Hmm.
Like you cut out the purple, you brought Charlie to life, you added some inclusivity stuff there, which I loved. Um, and we didn't catch every mistake. And there are still a couple. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I'm not going to bring it up, but there's still. If anyone spots what they think our problem is with Jack, not that you should go looking for it
No, please don't.
to pick it all apart, but like, yeah, like when it came together, and obviously then getting that first paperback and being like, it's here. Like
Yep.
now we can multiply this and get into the next one. Um, Air I loved because it's so twisty, but I think yeah, Slay was the most fun.
Yeah.
And that seems to reflect in people's opinions of it. They really like. I did worry a bit, and you can tell the glitter story now if you want to.
So, so as part of this process, Dan and I generally have a weekly call to have a catch up of the status of whatever we're working on, any problems, any future stuff that we need to be working on. We allocate tasks to each other. We also have, I think, we can touch on this if you want to, but accountability,
Mhm.
not just from an author point of view, but from a well-being point of view as well. So if there is anything that we're struggling with or we need help on, that's brought up as well. However, what I didn't expect one day was a comment being made of, I just need you to trust me on what I'm about to say.
This is actually the opening of the conversation.
Yeah, this is the opening of a call. No, there's no hellos, there's no sort of how are yous. It's I've had an idea.
You need to
It's
be on
going,
board with this.
you need to be on board with this because it's going to happen. And I'm not going to tell everyone exactly what the idea is because it will ruin some of the story.
Ah,
But my immediate reaction was probably 5 seconds of silence and you just going, this is happening.
mhm.
And I'm going to say it now. I don't think I've said this to you yet. It's one of the biggest things that people have commented on
Yeah.
that I've seen from the feedback that we've had. that people like the most. And I'm like, okay, fine. In future, I will trust a process. I wasn't sure to start with. We built
I
it
wasn't
in,
like.
but it's worked out and it's made it a very camp, very inclusive, very colourful horror Christmas story, which I love.
Mhm. It yeah it we really leaned into festive
Mhm.
is what we can say on that without giving too many spoilers. Like, and as you say, like a lot of the comments I've got back have just been how much people loved that side of it, and I think
Yeah.
that's just the trick. Like with every theme that we're picking for each story, we are leaning. Like, Jack was granted the first pass I gave you of Jack. You're like, it's too pumpkiny, and I was
There
like,
was so much pumpkin.
all right, cool, dial that back a bit. And
Yeah.
obviously in Air, there's like a lot of wolf, like, so it's kind of leaning into that. And with Slay being our festive tale, it's very festive.
Yeah.
So yeah, that like in terms of like fun, that has been my most fun to write. I feel like that's kind of the most pacey story we've got, and like it kind of really gets into it, like you're thinking.
I am thinking because for me, the pacey side of it is they're all set over a certain time period. But I'm not disagreeing with you. Slay feels a lot faster paced.
Yeah,
I would say Jack is
they all
a
seem to happen over a weekend.
yeah.
I've just noticed.
Well, it's just easier because give people a week and they will escape a situation at some point. You give them two
Fair,
days, you got to deal with the situation, haven't you?
fair, yeah.
Um, I just say there's a lot that happens in Slay in a very small location. Jack is a very small location. Heir is a small location. Deal is a very limited situation.
Oh, deal's gonna be interesting for people.
Yeah, so that could go. I think the pacing has never been an issue for me because it's always been something that we've unspokenly written. That's a word. Unspokenly, unspokenly written into the stories is it's set over a very limited time frame.
Yeah,
Because, like I said, if you give people 2 weeks, you're going to find a way out of a situation at some point.
yeah.
If you set it over 2 days or 3 days,
And just like
most,
deal with it.
yeah, you have to deal with whatever
Yeah.
situation is thrown at you,
And to be
especially if it
yeah,
is isolated.
and to be fair, yeah, these stories deliberately are written in a way that we want them to move quickly. They're
Yeah,
snapshots of horror.
yeah.
Um, and yeah, we're now 3 books in. Book four.
Technically 3.5 because we've got
Ah,
Thor as well.
yes. Yeah. So, do you want to say a little bit about Thor?
No, you can take the lead on that one. Over
Cool.
you.
If anyone wants a free short Twisted Tale, go over to twistedtalesbooks.com and you can download Thor, which is our little free story. That's all I'm going to say on that. It's quite
Yeah,
a fun
and it's
one.
not. I'm just going to say it now. It's not Thor as in like muscles
Hammer of
and
the Gods.
hammer. Yeah, it's Thor as in like THAW.
Yeah,
Just
as in
throwing that out there
defrost.
now. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, nice. We've got 3.5 stories out. Um, we've got book four nearly finished at the second draft. I think I've probably got about 6 or 7 thousand more words to go with that. Um, we've got to figure out what the next story after that is because, as you say, we've got this back and forth at the minute,
Yeah.
and we're going to do some 2026 planning soon. But is there? I've not prepped you for this question, but is there anything specific that you'd like to see or do with Twisted Tales in 2026?
I very much want to do either something to do with some Twisted Fae
Ooh.
or something to do with witches. And it's going to be one of those two things, or potentially a twisted Easter. Those are my three sort of options,
Mm.
which could cover 5, 6, and 7, but to be discussed. Same question
Yeah.
back.
Something cosmic. I love me a bit of cosmic. Um, and then moving away from the actual stories, I want us to go out and do an event.
Which we have started talking about already. but
Yes.
we need to do a little bit more planning for that to start with. However,
Not the event, an event.
my point still stands.
Fair. I love
So
benchmarking changes.
changing the words does not change the fact we still need to do a bit more planning on that one.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
But
Yeah.
yeah,
But yeah, it'll
okay.
be like just to kind of bring this back to the process side of it and just to highlight what this kind of collaboration can look like for people. So behind the scenes, as Rob's kind of highlighted, we meet every week. We discuss the things we're going to do. I tend to be a bit more of the strategy, the web design.
Yeah.
The At the minute, I'm very much deep in the weeds of writing.
Hmm.
Rob, you basically do all of our social media, and it looks
Yeah.
fantastic, and you
Thank you.
dominate that. So thank you for all your work you do with that. Um, I keep track of word counts, and we had a discussion a little while ago about different word counts and stuff, and I was looking at it, and I was like, I did no words in July,
Hmm.
and I was like looking because I just generally couldn't really remember much of this year, and I was looking through the numbers, and I was like, but I did a load of words in May and June, and then started getting back into them in August. Did loads in September, loads in October. What happened? Like, and we are both sat here going like, but why? Neither of us really did anything in July, and then we suddenly went, we launched a book.
And that is the important thing to remember, I think, everything,
Yeah,
especially for both of us and the way we work,
yeah,
is we did a thing, and because we are used to the thing, that is our normal now.
hmm
But in full transparency, in my day job, when I tell people that I publish books, I write, we both have our own publishing companies, there's the look of amazement and they go, do you actually do that? And you go, yeah, I do.
hmm
How many have you got? It's like, I don't know,
a lot.
25, 26 maybe at the moment. You've obviously got more because of past work and stuff. That is our normal, but it's also remembering it's not normal for people that aren't in our industry
Yeah,
or people that don't want to get into writing. It's
hmm
it's a big thing. You've put
yeah,
your heart, your soul, your time, your effort into 3.5 books, and as Dan said, the income doesn't often reflect the effort that you've put in, but it is your baby and it's something you put out in the world and it's something you love.
yeah. As you said, that's a reminder that it's not always about the words
No.
because July was us planning and booking
Yeah.
promos and doing social and everything else between working day jobs. Like I've got a full day job as well. What was the shaky head for?
Doing the socials, doing this. Come on now, doing the
Doing the socials.
socials.
Yeah. Doing
Yeah,
like
that's what it is.
doing doing the socials. Like that's a short code to like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
literally making the images from scratch, planning all of the content, trying to manage it around each other, scheduling it through Social Pilot, which is what we use for our social media. Like, yeah, it downplays a lot of that hard work, but like, I'm not shy to it. Um, but yeah, so I mean, we've kind of rambled on for I don't know how long about all this stuff, but I think for myself, I want to say before we wrap up, and I'll do this privately anyway, but I'll do it publicly as well. But like, thank you for everything you've done this year and for being an absolute pleasure to work with. Like, I've had collaborations before that have gone really well. I've had some that I've never had one that's kind of exploded or gone really bad,
Mm,
but I've had some that haven't worked because of conflict of schedules or just changes in ideas and stuff. But no, it's generally sort of a pleasure. Like we said, I think in the first episode, you really have to take your ego out of this process and look
yep.
at what you're producing as a whole.
Hmm.
And we both just seem very aligned on what we want to do with this, how we're making it
Yep.
happen. And we've got 3 printed books to show for it and,
Yep.
a short story as well that people can download. So thank
Yeah.
you for this
And
year and
likewise, thank
coming on
you
board.
for bringing me on to the Twisted Tales journey, and I hope everyone is enjoying it as much as we are.
Yeah. If you are and you're listening to this podcast and you do like Twisted Tales and you like me and you like Rob, then consider coming over to the Devil's Rock community. There's a lot of stuff happening next year that I'm going to fill Rob in on shortly. You know a lot of it anyway, but just
Okay, that's
yeah,
fine
yeah,
then.
yeah, yeah. No, like it's not.
Mild,
I'm,
mild moment of panic.
it wouldn't be out of the question. But no, but like next year, I'm really seeing a lot more effort and push going towards building that community and getting people involved, sharing the Twisted Tale stuff, sharing horror and just things in general. So consider joining, come over to devilsrockbooks.com/podcast and you can find the link to join us over there. Me and Rob are in there chatting to people, doing the thing. Or go to twistedtalesbooks.com and buy a Twisted Tales book, see if you like it. I know we've had quite a lot of new people come into the podcast recently, so if you've not read one yet, you might find one you like. And one thing I did kind of tease out that didn't mention, I'll just run by quickly. All the books are now available in Kindle Unlimited. Me and Rob, kind of as we alluded to, are trying to find the easiest, sustainable way for us to reach new readers. We're playing at the minute with what Kindle Unlimited looks like because the first, well, 5 months. So the book's been out 5 months now.
Yep.
The first 4 months of the book's coming out, 98% of all traffic was coming from Amazon anyway.
Yep.
So we're trying KU for 3 months, seeing what happens. We're experimenting. We'll report back on what that looked like. But yeah, if you're on KU, you can get those books for free and read and experience. So anything you want to add before we wrap up?
No, just again, if you want to come over to the Discord channel, there's always the opportunity to get advanced beta and ARC
Mm,
reviews of the books as well, so you can always get them before the general public. So
for
pop on
sure.
over. It's growing slowly but steadily, and
Mm,
it's always nice to see the new readers there. So shout out. I can't do specifics because there's too many of them, but the shout out to everyone that's there, and thank you to you, and thank you to everyone for being part of the Twisted community.
boom, boom. Hashtag Team Twisted.
Hashtag Team Twisted.
Cool. And we'll leave it there. Thanks for joining us, and we'll have another one of these at some point soon.
Soon enough, maybe someone.
No worries. Bye,
Got to speak
people.
soon. Bye.